Hey, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about the Bible and Bible for the beginners. So first of all, what is the Bible? Well, the word Bible simply means book. And this book is a collection of 66 independent historical documents written by 40 different authors. It contains different genres such as poetry, prophecy, and history. The context of the Bible covers the entire span of human existence from the creation, Genesis, to the final destruction of the enemy and the recreation of heaven and earth, Revelation. The Bible is also what we would call a progressive revelation. This means that from Genesis to Revelation, God slowly and meticulously revealed his plan of salvation through Jesus to us. It also means that to fully understand and embrace the beauty of this revelation, you should read the entire Bible. Having said that, the Bible is divided into two major parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The word testament simply means covenant or promise. The Old Testament contains the books from Genesis to Malachi and was finished 400 years before Christ was born. It covers a span of more than 1,500 years, and it's God's covenant with Israel. The laws and practices in it were given specifically to the Jews. However, we are meant to learn from them as Jesus quotes the Old Testament all through his ministry. The Old Testament is the beginning of the Bible's progressive revelation, as it contains many prophecies and signs of the coming of Christ. The first 17 books are historical from Genesis to Esther. Genesis introduces us to Abraham in chapter 12. He will eventually become the founding father of Israel. Exodus deals with his descendants suffering in slavery at the hands of Egypt. Leviticus deals with the priesthood and future prophecies. Numbers deals with the exile of the Jews in the wilderness for 40 years. Deuteronomy deals with the giving of the law to God's people. The remaining historical books deal with the triumphs, struggles, and the rebellion of the Israelites. Now, the first 17 books cover nearly 1,000 years of Israelite history. I'll give you a timeline that deals with the several key figures in it. So, Abraham lived in 2000 BC, Moses lived in 1400 BC, King David lived in roughly 1000 BC, and then 800 through 400 BC, we have the prophets. Now, after the historical books, we have the poetic books. These are Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon. So, Job is the oldest written book in the Old Testament, and it deals with trusting God in trials. Psalms is sung prayer. Proverbs is a book of wisdom. Ecclesiastes points out the fruitlessness of ignoring God. And the Song of Solomon is about the intimacy between a man and a woman and how it can relate to your relationship with God. The last 17 books, Isaiah through Malachi, deal with prophecies. Now, that's just a broad overview of the Old Testament. The New Testament has 5 historical books: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts. The first 4 are called the Gospels, and they are the same story from 4 different perspectives. Now, this is very important to remember because atheists and other opposers of the Bible will use discrepancies between the 4 writers to invalidate the authenticity of the Bible. Now, my wife and I watch Investigation Discovery, and it's a channel dedicated to how law enforcement all around the country solves crimes. So now, when there's a murder, they never just interview one witness. Well, why is this? Because people remember different things about the crime. They usually all agree on one thing: the crime, right? The murder, but they all remember different details. This is especially true if it involves describing a person or a vehicle. So if we lend this type of investigative leniency to witnesses of a crime, why don't we extend this to the apostles? So Matthew writes for the Jews and references the Old Testament. Mark focuses on the story itself. Luke is very detailed and focuses on the humanity of Jesus. John focuses on the divinity of Jesus, and he has unique stories. Acts of the Apostles shows the state of the church and early Christianity in the first 150 years after the death and resurrection of Christ. Peter carries the gospel to the Jews, and Paul carries it to the Gentiles. Now, after the gospels are the epistles. The epistles, or letters, teach new Christians how to live under the New Testament. Romans is the first epistle. This defines the theology of the early Christians. First Corinthians is about how we are to live. Second Corinthians is about servanthood. Galatians is about our salvation through grace. First and Second Timothy, Titus, Philemon are all pastoral epistles. James, Peter, John, and Jude also wrote to the church in general. There are also epistles that deal with false teachings. Finally, Revelation, the only prophetic book in the New Testament. This is also the culmination of the whole Bible. It is our only glimpse of future judgment and the revelation of heaven and earth. So, in closing, don't read the Bible randomly. It is a collection of 66 books compiled into a single book, and it wasn't intended to be read randomly or picked apart by verse. Pick a book, read it, study it, and then pick another book. And if you struggle with a passage or a verse, notate it and write it down and revisit it later. And if you don't get it, don't be discouraged. Read on. I hope this has been fruitful for you and have a blessed day.